Hi, I'm designer Jen Gallagher and welcome to the third video in the Crop and Create Delivered Summer 2015 series. In this particular video, we're going to create an 8.5 by 11 inch layout. If you prefer 12 by 12 inch layouts, then you'll simply need to cut things bigger and in squares rather than rectangles. So to get started, we're going to use a sheet of 8.5 by 11 inch white cardstock. Then we're going to take some of the confetti paper, which you can see I've cut down here. It has a bold blue pattern on the back. And we're going to place this onto the layout. We're going to center it from the top. On top of that, we're going to take a strip that has father, brother, sister, lots of phrases. It does have a floral on the back. And I'm using the confetti paper as inspiration for the colors that I'm going to use on this page. And we want to create a peekaboo effect, meaning we want some of the pattern to show behind the higher patterns. Then finally, we'll add this text paper, which is a teal text paper. To the right side of the layout, we're going to take the leftover blue diagonally striped pattern paper and we'll adhere this. You can see on the other side is a vivid multicolored dot. Using the corners of the pattern paper, we will match it up to the cardstock corners and then adhere it to our page. So you can see we've created some fun layers on the side here. To the top, we're going to add a photo. And it's going to stick off just a little bit, so we're going to trim off some of this photo. Now, a lot of the times I will measure perfectly, but another trick I use is depending on where I want to cut off the photo, I'll simply use a pen and I'll mark where I want to cut. And then I'll use my paper trimmer, align that mark right in the track of the paper trimmer, and cut it. Then we can place the photo onto the layout, and it's a photo of my son playing with some trucks. Now this is slightly larger than a 4 by 6 inch photo. If you do not print photos at home, then cut this blue piece or whatever color pattern paper you choose to be as wide as the photo you can print or you have on hand. For instance, most of us have 4 by 6 photos on hand, so this particular piece would need to be 6 inches across. I wanted to use one of the die cut pieces and I wanted to use it as a very large title. So I'm going to layer a few things. The first layer I'm going to add is a circle, and you can see that I've cut it. It is from the teal cardstock found in this collection. And before trimming it, I made sure that I could place the title on top. Now the title I'm going to use is Fun in the Sun. And I blew this die cut up quite large by changing the size in my Silhouette software. To adhere it, you can either use a dot runner, this scrapbook adhesives runner, or you can even use a glue pen. Once you have your title mounted on the page with whatever adhesive you desire, you can add some journaling. To do so, I have created this card which actually has some computer printed journaling on it. However, you could do this with handwritten journaling. Then I'm using a 2-inch circle punch, centering it in the back of the punch and then punching it through. I want it to hang off the page just a little bit, so I'm going to trim it off. Then I'm going to place it temporarily onto the page. For the next journaling block, we're going to use the stamp set. We're going to use the Salt, Sand, and Sea image, which I have placed onto a clear acrylic block. We're going to use some more of the gray cardstock as well as a Versamark ink pad. The Versamark ink pad will give it a slightly darker gray image. It always brings out a slightly darker shade than the cardstock or paper that you are using. Press firmly, but do not rock the stamp. This stamp has a fun effect in that the lines are kind of cross-hatched onto the image. For this, we're going to punch with a 1.5 inch circle punch. We want to make sure that the sand word is the word that is most easily visible, as my son is playing in the sand in the photo. Then go ahead and punch it out. We're going to slide this one slightly underneath, and then we'll attach this other one to the side. Here you can see I've added the larger journaling circle. One thing that you can do to distress the edges, if you like the same color as the stamped image, is you can use the Versamark ink pad and rub it around the edge of the stamped image. This will give it a slightly mottled and dark look. Again, we want the sand to appear beneath the card. You can see here how I've added that mottled effect with the stamping ink pad. To the top of the layout, we're going to take 2 strips of the gross grain ribbon. You can see that I've cut a rectangular, or rather triangle shape from the ribbon. And we're just going to use a stapler to attach them in place. We want to catch both the top layer, the entire page, as well as the back. And you can trim off the excess ribbon once you get it perfectly placed. We're going to slightly overlap the second ribbon, and following the same technique, staple it to our page. Metallic elements always look great on a boy page. You can trim off the extra ribbon on the back when you're done. For the next step, I'm going to show you how to manipulate an embellishment. For this layout, I liked the pinwheel, however I didn't want to use the flower shapes in the background. So I gently peeled it away, revealing part of the die cut sticker that I can use later, but I'm saving the pinwheel for this page. It will go here at the bottom. I'm also using one of the pea pod parts, which is a tag that is green and is on a wood grain pattern. We're going to stamp the word July in the center of that tag using some of the Lost Lagoon stamping ink that we used in a previous video. To stamp into an ephemera piece, you need to first make sure that the piece is not smooth in nature. It needs to be more of a matte finish or it will not accept the ink. But you can see how easily you can change both the pinwheel as well as the tag to fit your project. The last item we're going to add to this page is a cut pennant piece. You can see that it has a slightly sharper point than the other pieces that I've cut here with the ribbon. We'll attach this to the top of the ribbon, bringing in some of that blue and that teal color that we've used around the page. And you can always use a staple as well in that particular ribbon if you prefer. So this is the final video in the Crop and Crate Delivered Summer 2015 kit videos. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see additional kit videos we have created before, as well as our current tutorial videos.